they're trying to be like, oh, I'll be your sugar daddy. Because I had that when I was 13 when I first got into Instagram.
And you should have been like turning these guys into the cops because you're a minor and like they.
My parents had no idea about this because my ex at the time was obsessed with likes, and he bought all of his followers.
Really?
Yes.
I think in everybody's hearts, like Vine was the best social media site.
Oh, it was the
ever.
closest we were to world peace. What's up, guys, and welcome back to It's Finally Nighttime podcast, episode 3, take 2.
Yep, this is our second time recording this. The first time our SD card ran out of memory.
And we didn't know until we were finished.
Literally was an hour podcast.
Yep, and it was good combo. So hopefully we can keep that up of the whole combo. But yeah, so what are we talking about today there?
Bucko.
My wonderful husband.
Today we're talking about social media.
Mm-hmm. The wonderful social media.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, we're keeping the energy up high.
Yeah.
So getting right into it, for Lent, you came up with the idea to get rid of social media for all 40 days.
Yep.
And so I've jumped on board. Thought it was a great idea. I've only been on for like business purposes.
And for people that don't know what Lent is a Christian thing, right? Or
Yep.
Kind of, is it kind of
Mostly Catholic, but I think it might be
it's Christian. Or maybe it's Catholic. Okay. Well, anyways, and it starts like the second or third week in February. It starts in February sometimes.
Yeah, it varies.
And then it goes for 40 days until Easter Sunday.
Yep. And so based on Jesus's 40 days of being tempted in the desert.
Yep. And so what happens during Lent is that you're supposed to give up something that is hard for you to give up, just because obviously Jesus went through something very, very hard in the desert. So I guess that's what we're like. That's you're supposed to go through.
And getting you prepared for the crucifixion.
Yep. And
crucifixion, then finally the resurrection.
When he
of Jesus.
has risen.
That's right. Anyways, so yeah, for Lent, you're supposed to give up something or to do something more difficult. Obviously, it's cliche that everybody like, oh, I'm going to give up chocolate or I'm going to give up candy. Chocolate. I remember chocolate.
Yeah, it's from SpongeBob.
I always hated it.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, you actually went to adoration, which adoration, for people that don't know, is where
it's just silence in
front of Jesus for typically an hour.
Yep.
And so in this day and age, we do not get enough silence. We don't get enough boredom to actually think through our thoughts.
Yep.
And analyze kind of pretty much everything that's going on in our lives.
Yeah.
So it's so great.
So I went to adoration, and I was going, like, I brought a notebook just to like write everything down. And I mainly went there to like figure out my anxiety, because I have just like sit in silence and figure out my anxiety, just because I still have it like here and there. And I talked about in the last episode that, you know, it's a lot better than it was in before pregnancy and during pregnancy. But like I still have it sometimes here and there, and just trying to get a hold on it even better. So I was just going through like talking about like thinking about, I guess, and writing down of like, what are my triggers? How can I figure out? Because Target is a huge anxiety for me. I hate going to Target by myself. Oh my gosh.
Target the store.
And I literally will buy stuff that I don't need because it gives me anxiety. I don't know why.
Literally the funniest story.
Yes.
I'm trying to think, was I out of town or why were you there alone?
Yeah, you were out of town because Lalo had RSV. And I needed to go get medicine. And so I went to Target to go get medicine because they said they had it there. They didn't. But people were in the baby aisle, and it made me very, very anxious. So I went back around to like a different aisle. What ended up being like the women's aisle for tank tops. I'm actually wearing one right now. And I ended up like throwing stuff in the cart of like, oh, that looks cute, just to kind of keep my mind occupied. And then once I was done, I went back to the baby aisle and people were gone. Yeah, it was just whatever. Don't even ask. Anyways, so I went to adoration, trying to figure out my anxiety. Well, then I went to Well, I feel like a huge anxiety thing is social media, and that's how I'm
Mhm.
trying to like keep my mind occupied is social media and scrolling on social media and just everything like that. So I was telling myself maybe I should get rid of social media for Lent because I haven't done that. I don't feel like ever. I've done it for like a couple days here and there, and then I end up going back to it. But I told myself I was going to get rid of all of my social media, including Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, especially TikTok, because that one is so addictive. But just any social media form, except for YouTube, because we use YouTube for just like watching TV. That's what we use it for.
Sure. And it is very addictive. Don't get me wrong.
It
But at
is, but
least you can control that a little bit better. You're not scrolling through YouTube constantly.
but usually we're doing it together. Like
Hmm.
we're watching YouTube
It's our
together.
TV. So,
Yes.
for a watch, like we're having lunch together and we're hanging out.
Yeah.
We might, jump on a video, watch that, have it in the background.
We usually watch YouTube instead of TV, like you said. Yeah. Sorry I
Exactly.
repeated that, but yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so it was a great idea. Had a
Yeah.
lot of props to you for coming up with that. Um, but kind of going into, okay, why, like, us starting to ask the question of, like, all right, why is it giving us anxiety?
Mm,
Why do we even feel like we have to get rid of it for like these 40 days and even possibly beyond that?
yeah.
So let's start at like the beginning. When did you first get social media?
I think I was in seventh grade. I think now seventh grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, seventh grade. I had or social media. I got my first phone fifth grade, and it was a flip phone. And then I think social media I got was in seventh grade,
Yeah.
and that was the old Instagram camera with like everything blocky.
Yeah, that was great.
It was
Those were
the
the days.
days. Jinx.
Thanks again.
Anyways, when did you get social media?
So I got it. It was in eighth grade. I remember that. And I remember like the first. So Instagram was the first form of social media that I got. It was right away when it came out, and I have no idea how I heard about it. But
The
it was
first form of social media I had was Vine.
really.
Yes, I had Vine before Instagram.
But did Vine come out before Instagram?
I don't
No, it
know,
came out
but I
after.
had Vine first because I was on Vine, and I remember like a couple of
Okay,
my
so I would have been 3 years. Yeah, absolutely. That matches up. Because
yeah
if I was 3.5 years older than you, then that completely matches
yeah,
up.
but I had Vine first. I remember a couple of my videos like went viral, like of scaring Talon.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm scared. Do you have like access to any of
I
those?
don't know. I'll have to look, but he was coming out of the bathroom and he screamed and like dropped a broom. I don't know why he had a broom in there, but whatever he did. And it went like pretty viral. And then I would oh my gosh, I would make these videos of what is that show called? American Horror Story because I was really obsessed with American Horror Story at the time.
Yeah.
And I'd make like these like edits because edits were really in Vine of like making like Peter what's his name again? Peter
I never watched it.
Evan Peters, not Peter. Evan Peters. And I made edits of like Evan Peters and that Lily girl, I think her name is Lily or something, on American Horror Story, the first episode or first season.
Really?
And they went pretty viral. But
How many?
anyways,
Do you
yeah.
remember how many followers you reached on Vine?
No, I don't because then it got shut down. But Vine was my first form of social media.
And
That
in Vine's
was
defense, I might be biased. I think in everybody's hearts, like Vine was the best social media site
oh, it was the
ever.
closest we were to world peace.
That's what everybody
I
jokes
just
about.
grab.
No, but like it's
It-
funny because like even nowadays from time to time will look up, like not all the time, but we'll look up like on YouTube
Oh,
classic vines
Vines.
because you quote them all the time.
Yeah. Hurricane Katrina.
Mary Chrysler, yeah,
More like Hurricane Tortilla. Yeah.
just absolute classics. And so
Yeah.
it was what a social media site and platform to come out that
Yeah.
literally you had to be funny or you had to catch somebody's eye within
had to
like 7
sing.
seconds.
Because that's where Shawn Mendes came from.
Everybody, David Dobrik
Mm-hmm.
and his like entire vlog squad, like so many people, Logan Paul,
Yeah.
literally all of like the mainstream YouTubers or, for the next 5 years after that,
Yeah.
all came from Vine.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
But-
but anyways, that was my first form of social media. And then Instagram was 7th grade.
Yeah, so that all adds up because I got it in 8th grade. So you might have even gotten it a little bit later because if
I
I
didn't-
got it in 8th grade,
I didn't have it right away.
yeah. So I got it like right at the inception because I remember there's barely none of my friends were even on, but it was a social media or
Yeah.
it, came out. I heard about it, so I remember being out on my grandparents' farm, and like my brother taking photos, which is actually interesting to look back at now.
Was this Mike or Adam?
This was Mike because might even be like my mom. I don't know. I'll have to ask
Oh,
Nancy about
gosh.
that. But it's interesting now because I remember asking my mom for her camera, like her actual nice Nikon
Yeah.
that she got. It was nice back then.
Which they gave to us now to sell.
Yeah, which we did sell actually. Fun fact.
Nice.
We digress. So, yeah, and so that kind of got me interested in photography. Anyways, yeah, and like that was the first time I learned how to like to dunk, and so then I had them taking photos, and yes,
To post on
I had
Instagram.
to post on Instagram for nobody to even look at.
Definitely shirtless.
Only one or two were shirtless, in my defense,
Definitely
but
shirtless.
I had the long baggy baby blue Jordan shorts, and I had a Hanes white tee of all things. That's what you could wear back in junior high. Those were the days. That was great.
You were the cool person then if you were wearing that.
But anyways, yeah, and so that was kind of cool to look back on, and that was when you didn't really care what you posted. It was just a cool site that you posted photos, and that's all it was.
Yeah, it didn't really matter what you posted. And like I said in the other podcast, episode 3, but got deleted, is that I posted just nature. I just posted like flowers. I'd post like my cats, which you were surprised I even had cats.
Yeah, I had to
No
learn
idea.
something new because the reason why I didn't know that is because you don't like cats now.
I don't mind them, but I don't want a cat.
Yeah.
You know. But I had 3 cats, and I'd post about the cats all the time, and I'd post about just pretty much nature. Never of myself, though, until I hit freshman year of high school.
And then everything changes.
Everything-
Junior high is rough, but high school,
But like I said, so junior high, though, I was like the last generation that did not care about anything, I guess. Like that, yeah, you want to have like Hollister and Aeropostale because that's what we were wearing. We were wearing the plastered Aeropostale and the Hollister, the buckle jeans that had the freaking bedazzled on them, Miss Me jeans that hurt when you sit on the chairs.
any seat.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
sit down.
Yes. And so we did not care. Like we had our hair like slicked to the side. Like our part was all the way over here. And we were wearing just like mascara and eyeliner. Blue, like we'd have like blue mascara, like the randomest colors of like pink mascara because it was cool to do that. But yeah, those were the days of like nobody cared about anything. And that all the people posted were just pictures of them together with friends. It was never like selfies. I mean, yeah, it was selfies sometimes, but it was never like seductive selfies.
No, and it wasn't about how much you looked. You just posted to post. Like you were like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. I want to update like
Yes.
my friends on what I'm doing."
And you never really thought about the post. You never like
No.
sat there and like, okay, like should I post this? Should I not post that? You're like, ooh, you're literally gonna take the picture on Instagram instead of like taking it from your gallery. You're gonna take it from Instagram and just post it from Instagram.
Exactly. Not
Yeah.
overthinking the caption,
Yes.
not overthinking about how you look, all those things. No,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of bizarre now to look at
Of where it's like come.
of where it's come. And you're even, telling me we both were like you were teaching dance. I was training and coaching basketball quite a bit. This is, now probably like 3 years ago, back in 2020. But you're just saying now about what girls in junior high wear.
Oh yeah, junior high and high school. It's just like I was saying that. I keep saying like I was saying because of the last video, but in junior high and even high school too, we could not get away with anything. And I went to a public school. Ben went to a private Catholic school, and I went to a public school. Okay, and we couldn't wear like shorts that were longer. They had to be longer than our fingertips. So I had to get specific shorts that were like literally knee length because I have long arms. You couldn't wear tank tops, and if you did, it had to be 2 finger length tank top. And then you can have your bra strap showing, which kind of makes sense, but still, just sometimes you can't really, do that. But anyways, yeah, they were very, very strict in public school.
Which is crazy to think about because at going to a private school, like it makes sense that there were dress code rules.
Yeah.
And, even a couple years after I went to school and I graduated, they put in uniforms and everybody had to wear uniforms.
Yeah.
And so to hear that a public school actually cared about what they wore and having a dress code that was that strict,
You can't wear
is
hats.
remarkable. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can't wear hats. I don't know.
And
if
now
yeah, nowadays it's like
nobody cares.
I see people wearing crop tops. Like I'm seeing 7th grade girls wearing crop tops to school. I'm seeing like booty shorts to school. They're wearing tube tops. Like what? Tube tops is like no straps at all. It's just like a tube.
Really?
Yes, it's just no straps. But anyways, it's just, and then their makeup looks immaculate. Like it looks great, but
I mean, props.
props to them.
Makeup's fantastic.
But I was just like, I wasn't able to wear makeup at all until I was a sophomore in high school because like I was telling you in one story that I went to school when I was in 7th grade. I wasn't to school yet, but was driving to school with my mom. I had blush on because I had makeup for dance, and so that makeup was only used for dance and nothing else. Put blush on before school. My mom noticed I had blush on, and she drove my butt back home and made me wipe it all off before I went back to school.
Which is, yeah, that's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Which people can wear makeup, whatever, but I'm just saying, like, they just look so old. Like they're looking like they're my age instead of the age that they should be looking. I feel like, and that's how they're getting these creepy people online that are reaching out to them, or they're trying to be like, oh, I'll be your sugar daddy. Because I had that when I was 13 when I first got onto Instagram.
Which is bizarre because it was at the beginning of it's the beginning of social media. And back then, there just wasn't you didn't think there's as many spammers.
No, and I looked like a 13-year-old, okay? Probably even younger than a 13-year-old. Now, these girls nowadays are looking like they're 20, so not saying that it should happen, but it has more incentive to happen, if that makes sense, I guess. Like, I was 13. Like, you should not, it was.
But just being a guy, like, I did not realize that there was that many creepers out there.
Oh, yeah, because when I was on, I would get people that would follow me and somehow would get my phone number, for one, on Instagram. I don't know how they would get my phone number. And they would either message me on Instagram or they would text me of like, hey, I'll pay you $2,000 a week for just to be your friend. Just to be friends and everything. Like, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, I'm gonna make $2,000. My parents don't have to pay for anything. I get my own money, whatever. And then it goes like a couple days later after talking to this person, they're like, oh, well, can you send me a picture of yourself? A couple days later, oh, well, can you send me, a more picture of yourself with not wearing anything under? It escalated pretty quickly. And then obviously I stopped talking to that person.
And you should have been like turning these guys into the cops because you're a minor and like
my parents have no idea about this. My mom has no. I mean, she probably does now because I've probably told her about it. And then like a week later, another person would text me saying the exact same thing, and then another one, and then I just get a lot of messages on that. But as soon as I got into a relationship, they would all go away.
Yeah,
which was crazy.
Nuts.
As soon as I posted a picture of like a guy, then they'd go away.
So they're real people, and they aren't. Yeah. They weren't just spammers that. Yeah. Is the majority like nowadays. But that's nuts.
It's social media is scary.
That is extremely scary. Yeah. And so going off that, I mean, I felt like we had social media young, but now kids are growing up with it in grade school.
7th grade, or they're 7 years old, like 7, 8 years old. Because Gemma, our niece, she's 7 and she has friends that have iPhones.
And that gives you the access then like to start getting social media.
Same thing as Quinn, my stepsister.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, everybody has iPhones. I want an iPhone.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we were playing a game and said, what would you buy if you had $100? And she immediately said an iPhone. Yeah. And like, I don't think that will get you an iPhone. But
I do wish she had like some sort of phone so I could text her a lot more, but that's honestly about it. But anyways, yeah, it's young. And I got, like I said, my first phone when I was in 5th grade, but that was a flip phone. And that was for to text my parents or call them that, hey, I got done with practice. Like, you can come pick me up now. Or, like, for any emergencies of when we had sleepovers or not. So.
And that's the function of what a phone should be able to do is a phone should be able to make calls and maybe make texts. But text, it's even like texting, you could be texting, there can be random people texting, which you even said that
Yeah.
that guy's got your number off of Instagram.
And I have no idea how, but yeah, it's crazy. And same thing as I think they also got it from like Omegle. We've talked about Omegle.
Yeah.
And Omegle is back then was a huge site that everybody went on.
Yeah.
Everybody. You went on.
We
too.
went on it. Like I remember very distinctly at my buddy's Jake's house that all my buddies, when you're bored on a weekend night, like, all right, what should we do? Oh, we can go to Omegle, and it's just like us four guys all huddled around the computer and
Just to talk to people.
just to talk to people and see what would come up.
And I wonder if it like I don't remember how Omegle worked at all, but
It was just like I think it was like all these people that logged in,
But
they
did
had a
you, like-
webcam, and it would just, you could either stay talking to somebody or else you could press the next person and it would just continue to
Yeah.
randomly generate
But
you
did
two
you have
people
like
around the
did you
world.
have to put it like female or male when you
I
had to,
maybe.
Okay.
I don't remember.
because that might make a difference because when I went on Omegle, I went by myself because I didn't really have any friends at the time, really ever during my childhood that I hang out with
Really?
besides Camille. So
That's sad.
shout out Camille.
But you also, like the amount that you dance, though, you put all your time
Yeah.
and effort into dance growing up.
Yeah, because when I was in middle school, I think I was already dancing. I'd start after school and go all the way to about like 9 o'clock. And then once I was a sophomore or junior in high school, then I got done with school at 1 because I purposely did that so I could go do private lessons and I wouldn't get done until about 9:30, 10.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it was every day. Every day. Weekends too. So, anyways, I don't know where that was going.
Yeah,
Oh,
so going back to
Omegle.
Omegle.
So I went by myself for this time because I was like, oh, I want to check this out because everyone's talking about this site.
How old were you at this time?
Probably like 14, I'd say. Probably like 14 or something. I don't know. Teenager, obviously. And the first thing that showed up was an old man doing stuff. Don't have to explain that. But he was naked, which was great. Not. Okay.
So you're already like getting exposed to this stuff.
Oh, yeah, I was exposed a long time ago to that stuff though, because I mean, if you have a brother, it sometimes happens. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but that popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh. So then I switched, and I go to the next person. It was like, I don't even remember. It was probably some person from. Don't want to say that because I might get canceled, but from Hawaii, and I was just talking to them, and then the next person was another old man. 2 people later, another old man. Like it was just consistent of old men just naked getting their jollies off.
Dang.
Yeah. So never went back on that.
Yeah, that's wild. And that was even really considered a social media site, but
But I wonder if that is right though, that you had to put female or male, because the fact that if I had that many just because I put myself as a female,
they try to match you up with more males and stuff, and
which is
they were
scary.
yeah, it is.
But
scary.
I have no idea. It could have been just random
Yeah.
coincidence. But
Anyways, so yeah, talking about it now, with both of us, coaching and teaching these kids that we know that they have social medias, because me coaching a lot of boys, like they would follow me on social media and they're posting the silliest, most random stuff, which is so innocent and it's great. But it's like, dude, you are in 4th grade and you have Instagram and you have TikTok. And so the thing that I don't think that parents really realize nowadays is just what's out there, because as far as I know, it's not like Instagram and TikTok are like, oh, this person put in that they're 13 years old.
yeah.
Or, oftentimes, we did it all the time. Like you'd lie about what your age was.
Oh yeah.
And so you don't get anything, what am I trying to say? Like protected from you. Like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not, nothing.
Protection,
Yeah. So you were exposed to anything and everything.
Yeah.
And so
It's-
that all of a sudden, like your innocence can get taken away like that. And that's the dangerous thing now too with, as we're saying with how young now kids get iPhones.
Mm-hmm.
And again, parents don't take any steps forward to regulate that or to try to protect their kids from what's out there. And so, you have a lot of boys that are curious on the internet, and all of a sudden when they're getting their iPhone at 8, 9, 10. How long does it take them until when their buddy says something or they're on the internet just browsing and they're looking through pornography or
Yeah.
whatever? And so that's just, it's killing our generations of people finding that. And I know
Yeah.
that was even happening towards the end of, our end of junior high and high school.
Yeah. And especially like for girls though too, that they start getting, body dysmorphia or just having a lot of mental health problems because they're seeing these models or like these huge influencers. That's the thing too. Like when we had social media, there was no influencers.
Yeah.
There was like if we did, we had like David Dobrik, who was just like some goofy dude, and the same thing with his girlfriend at the time, Liza, and like everybody loved them together, whatever, blah blah blah. But we never had influencers that are like, this is my makeup routine and this is my daily what I do and this is how I take care of my child and blah blah blah.
Or people like blowing up on Instagram because they're in a bikini and doing whatever
or
else.
like this is how I get my abs and everything, even though I haven't eaten in like a week, but I'm not going to tell people that. It's like yeah, we didn't have that back then, but now with people having that, I feel like girls when they get that, I remember that I was in probably a junior or something, and I had this girl when I was in dance, and she was maybe 10, 11 years old, that she texted or Snapchatted me. She Snapchatted me because that's all those kids did was Snapchat, and they still do.
Yep.
And she Snapchatted me asking how to get abs and how to lose weight and how to get rid of her cellulite.
And she was 10 or 11.
10 or 11 years old. And I was like, when I was that age, I was freaking outside playing in the mud and yelling at the sun not to follow me, Like,
yeah.
like, why are you following me, man? But still, like, you're worrying about your, like, cellulite that you don't even have. You're 10, 11 years old, You're a child. You're not even going through puberty yet.
But you heard that from whoever.
Yeah, and then I had another one that she needed me to help her with eating because she was having a tough time eating because she didn't want to eat because she was, anorexic or whatever. So, and I remember buying her protein bars and buying stuff for her because she just wanted to eat healthy, even though she was already eating healthy. It was just like, it was ridiculous. The things that they're already going through they don't think that social media is damaging them, but it actually is.
Yeah, that's super sad.
Yeah.
And I think that, on a certain level that social media does affect all of us on a subconscious level that we don't even understand.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely does. And I think that's why I got rid of all the social media, is just to see how I do without it, because I feel freaking great, But also what we did is that we put our accounts to private.
Yep.
That's what we did. And then I also unfollowed all of the people that I didn't want to follow anymore, and then also made people that I didn't want following me unfollow me. And same thing on Facebook. I deleted everybody that I didn't know and just wanted, it was honestly just friends that I wanted. It sounds so dumb, but it's like you follow people sometimes because they followed you, or you feel obligated to follow them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because there's a huge popularity thing back then in high school and in college of, you cared about the ratio. You cared about your followers to how many people you were following.
Your likes.
Your likes. Like, it was cool if you got followed by somebody, but you didn't follow them back. It's like, what?
That was cool.
It's so stupid. And then the number of likes and whatever, we were talking about that, how it is very cool that Instagram took away. You could hide your like count if you want to.
Yeah.
And so that is it's just crazy how, logically you're like, all right, I should not care about these things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but still like deep down it does. And it does affect you and it does impact you. And then all of a sudden you are asking yourself, and you might not admit it to anybody, but like, hey, why didn't this post do well?
Yeah.
Are people judging me? Are people mad at me? Is there a reason why, all these certain kinds of things, when once you actually kind of say it out loud, you realize how ridiculous that is.
Yes, and how silly it is. And I remember caring about likes until probably a senior actually afterwards. A senior in high school, 18, 19. Before we met, I think.
Yeah.
because my ex at the time was obsessed with likes, and he bought all of his followers.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
So he bought all of his followers. I never bought like any of it, but and then you'd have like this app that would generate likes. So you would like just random people's photos, but then it would, if you liked with one like, it would like one of your photos. So you generate likes that you could take like 200 likes and put it on one photo.
Really?
Yes. And so then I started doing that because I felt like I needed to do that for the likes. Anyways, I hit like 20 years old and I was like, I could care less, and I don't care anymore, So yeah, that was something that was really crazy. I felt obligated to post every single day, post on my stories every day of what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was something that I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it doesn't even matter. Nobody cares about a freaking selfie that I took or modeling pictures that I've done, And yeah, it was something.
It was something. So now that, we've taken a step back from social media, what would you say, being on it for over a decade, how it affected us?
Yeah. You want to start with that?
Yeah, sure. I can. I think there's numerous ways of how it affected me. Again, could be conscious or subconscious. I know as a kid, you don't want to admit a lot of things, or you're still learning about life and learning about like yourself. And so you don't really realize it in the moment with self-awareness. But one of the things was like probably jealousy on a certain extent and FOMO of
Yes.
others. And
Yeah.
so you'd see what other people were doing and you didn't realize that it was just like the highlights, that you think that this is people's entire lives, or that
Yeah.
you were seeing people hanging out together and you weren't invited, or that they're out on vacation enjoying themselves and you're like, I wish I was on vacation, or why am I not there,
I
or
think
whatever.
the vacation one's the one that hits us the most. Like,
Yeah.
I think traveling. I think it was for a while, and then for you, it went into business.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. No, I would agree with that, because it's like, okay, well, we could be doing that right now, but we have obligations right here, or now we have a child, or we're pregnant. Like, we aren't able to do these things right
Yeah.
now. Later on in life, we will. But yeah, it definitely did change into business, because then all of a sudden I would see people posting things for their business. It'd be like a cool video, it'd be whatever. And I would feel like, why I'm not working hard enough.
Yep.
Why am I not making my own posts? I can make that, or I can make even something better than that. And so then all of a sudden,
It became like a competition for you,
yeah, it did. And
which we are very competitive people. So, I mean,
Yeah.
understandably so, but
no, we are, but it was like, I
Unhealthy.
feel like I'm missing out, or that person now is getting ahead of me just by them
Yes.
posting that, and it does not matter. And at the same time that these people are posting these things, I was working on 3 or 4 wedding films. I was working on these commercial projects. I was working on all of these different things.
having a child.
Working out and working on myself. But all these things were behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And so it did become definitely a thing of, I wanted the affirmation that these other people were receiving. I was wanting like the likes. I was wanting all like these pat on the backs for me to reassure myself
Yeah.
that, hey, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
And that's just not the way that life is. If you do things for like my career and my making this video, making this documentary, telling this person's story should not be about, hey, I want all like the kudos and I want all like the pats on the back and the
Yeah.
affirmation. It should be about just being true, being authentic, and doing it for like the beauty of like the story, doing it for this person, and just having
Yep.
that entire mentality of that selfless giving.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my little tangent going off on that. But comparison, did you have any of that? Did you have like that FOMO of,
I feel like I had that FOMO probably like in high school, especially since I wasn't able to do much. Especially when people are going to football games, and I've only been to one football game my entire life in high school, and I was only able to go because somebody wanted to go and she said that she was going. So then no one showed up to rehearsal, and then my teacher forced me to go. And so I think definitely in high school when people were hanging out and I was in the studio 24/7, and I didn't. Not saying I didn't get to have a teenage like life, but I honestly didn't because I didn't go to prom. I went to prom I guess once, but it wasn't even my prom. It was somebody else's prom, and his girlfriend broke up with him like a week before, and I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. And so we went together. Never went to prom my junior or senior year. Never went to homecoming besides that homecoming game, and never went to a basketball game or anything. So
Wow.
I
I
don't.
know you told
I
me
don't
about
think I
that, but I
ever had
still
any
can't believe it.
sleepovers either, like or like slumber parties or like girl nights or anything like that. I don't think I ever.
You were just focused and dedicated and
Yeah,
disciplined.
kind of, except my junior year when I was went a little crazy. AKA started to party a little bit, but that's another time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I ever had FOMO after I was like 20. I think 20 and maybe 21, 22. That's when I started just like not really care. Especially when we got married.
Yeah.
I think I could care less about what people are doing.
Do you think that had something a part of? Because there's definitely, I mean, I can attest to this too, that you make certain posts, kind of hoping that that guy or that girl that like you're interested in
Oh
would
yeah.
reach out to you.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like if you're still single, you're very, very much involved in social media because you are
Oh
trying.
yes.
That's how you're trying to communicate with a lot of
Because you
people.
want that person to like it, and then you'd want like one of their friends to at them. Because you remember that I don't know if people ever did that to you, but like you'd have friends like at that person on your post, and you're just like, oh yeah, or like they would comment. Yeah, that was, I guess like maybe because we were dating, but not really because
Because it's almost like, I mean,
I
like
think
once you got married, once you were dating someone, like once we started dating each other, we knew like, hey, like this is the one for me.
yeah,
I don't know about you, but like a ton of anxiety and just kind of pressure kind of falls off.
yeah,
And it might not even be pressure that you're exactly aware of, but it's like, hey, you're constantly looking for your spouse and the
yeah,
person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So once that person is like, you find that
there,
person, it's like, okay,
yeah.
I don't know.
I would
I
say
don't
that
have to work
because
as hard to try to find my future spouse.
I think it was just because I was fulfilled. Like I was finally fulfilled in life.
Oh,
You know.
well, that's nice of you to say.
Well, no, honestly, like, even when I had like boyfriends or whenever, like I still felt, and maybe because it wasn't that one, but I felt obligated still to like post, and I still needed attention because I wasn't getting the right attention. So
Yeah.
it sounds terrible, but I just not attention as like I was gonna cheat because I've never cheated in my life, but like just attention because I wasn't getting it from that significant other at the time.
Yeah.
And now that I'm so fulfilled that I have an amazing husband, I have a beautiful daughter, I have a house or something over my head, I have food to keep my tummy full. It's just what can I ask for? I'm not going to complain about somebody being in Hawaii because we can do that whenever we want. We just we have to grind it out and we'll be there.
Yeah, it's having a true gratefulness and appreciation and understanding that you're not entitled
Yeah.
in life to really understand that and understand that the necessities are all that you need.
Yeah.
And to not envy and want more and more and more because you're never going to be fulfilled that way.
And I think right now what I mainly crave, it's like I crave like friends, and I crave like the bonding with friends, and especially like family, and especially with my mom. Because my mom lives in Texas now, and we were there for a week and just being with them, and we've had this talk that like it sucks. Like I love you, mom, if you are watching this, but it sucks that she's not that close by. I mean, she's freaking how many 3,000 miles away from us or something like that. I don't know. But obviously she's always a phone call away, but I don't know, life is short and you just want to spend as much time as you can with friends and family because that's all you have. You don't have social media. What does social media do? Nothing.
It's not a true relationship, or it's not the way that you can have a relationship with somebody.
No, because it's just highlights.
Yeah, it's just highlights, and it's just, texting and whatever else. It's the way you can keep in contact with friends, but nothing obviously matches up to human to human interaction and contact. And so, yeah, with that, the older that you get, and it's really mature. I think having it this young is realizing that,
I am
hey,
24.
our careers, our careers and all of our material goods are all going to dwindle away.
Oh
Like
yeah.
in a year or 2 years or 3 years after we pass away, no one is going to remember what we have. Even all of our friends and our family are going to have passed away.
Yeah.
Obviously, our kids will still be around and our grandkids and whatever, if
Hopefully.
God willing. But truly, what matters at the end of the day is our family and our friends that are in our lives, and then the way that we treated them.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, getting to see them in heaven, hopefully one day, and bringing them closer to God.
Yeah, and just treating like for me, I love giving back to people.
You are so generous. You are such a kind
I don't know
person.
why, but I just love giving back to people and going above and beyond. And I remember this when I was younger. My mom would get so mad that I'd always put people above myself. And I mean, I've been a lot better now being older, like always making sure to put myself first because I can't give 100%, like I said in the last episode. Can't give 100% if I'm at 100%, but I just it fulfills me seeing people fulfilled.
Mm.
But anyways, this is completely off of the whole social media
Yeah.
topic, but
Yeah. So getting back on social media, so we talked about kind of like the FOMO and the jealousy and the comparison,
but
and just
how
people
it's
posting
all
highlights.
highlights.
Yep.
Yes.
Posting all highlights. I'd say another thing is that it's a huge, it's a way that so many people, ourselves included, use as a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a way of procrastination. So there's a whole list of things that you need to get done, and you're trying to avoid it. And so us as humans, we're constantly trying to avoid the thing that's inevitable, which is suffering.
Yep.
And instead of going and doing that hard task, what am I going to do? I'm going to scroll on Instagram, or to face the stressful situation that you're in, the difficult situation, instead of contacting that person or having that conversation, I'm going to go to social media
And
and
just
I'm going to
scroll.
try to avoid it at all costs.
And it could just be like a small task of like doing the laundry,
Yep.
which I know a lot of people hate doing the laundry, but just like your laundry doesn't get done for a couple of weeks now because you're just scrolling through social
Getting
media.
out of bed. You're
Getting
just
out
going
of
to lay
bed
in bed and
for
just
a
scroll.
couple hours, and I would do that. Like I hands down would do that, and I would do it at nighttime. I would scroll on social media, especially TikTok, and it would have like a thing that would say like, "Hey, you've been scrolling for so long, you should get off," or "Hey, it's bedtime," or whatever it was, and I would scroll past them all. And then same thing as like at the middle of the night, like when Layla would wake up and I couldn't go back to sleep, I would just scroll instead of going back to sleep or trying to go back to sleep. But now I'm stimulated because of all the blue lights and everything, and it's just gonna keep me up longer. But yeah, it was a lot of trying to distract myself.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel the same way with work and everything is, just going on it. I'm supposed to be doing something, and for some reason Instagram or Facebook would come to my mind, or I'm thinking about like, oh, I wonder how my buddy's doing.
Yeah.
And I would just go on there and I'd be looking at his profile. Yeah, it just would totally.
Then you go to another profile because you found them tagged in another picture, so you go to that
Yep.
profile. Then you get down the rabbit hole.
On and on
Yes.
and on. And so how long would you say, like, what was your phone telling you of how long you'd be on?
It was about like 5-6 hours. It was telling me that I was on there, and that's a lot. I feel like, and that included like texting, phone calls, all that kind of stuff. But 3 hours of that was mainly social media, of just me scrolling on
Yeah.
social media. And I did have a time limit on my phone too, and I'd always like dismiss it all the time. I'd be like dismiss,
Always.
dismiss.
Always.
But now it's at, I believe, like 2 hours, and I still feels like a lot, but that's 2 hours of like replying to people or having phone calls or looking at photos of Layla, because that's what I find myself doing now, or just like old pictures of us and Googling things. Like that's 2 hours of just on my phone, which is really good, I feel like.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, I know mine was about 7 to 8 hours,
Yeah.
with everything included. And, even for you to get back 6 hours of your life to do other things.
Yeah.
And we were even talking about that, like, yeah, you're looking up stuff on Google. You're looking through like old photos and old memories,
Yeah.
and using your notes and organizing those things and organizing your thoughts, spending more time in silence, more time in boredom, is just huge. And so I think like with social media, a huge thing is that we're not only addicted to social media, but we're also addicted to our phones.
Oh yeah.
And we're addicted to constantly being stimulated and constantly be doing something to entertain all the time. We're avoiding silence. We're avoiding boredom at all costs.
Yeah.
We have to be constantly entertained.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, it's detrimental to our, like, people's ideas, their creativity, their overall peace, because their mind's constantly going. It never gets a break. You never get to
Yeah.
really think about, just like with adoration, you're not able to think about just like your life and where you're at, and just reflect on things. And if you're not able to reflect on things, how are you ever supposed to get over obstacles and humps in your life?
Yeah, and it's like you can think about things like daily of like, oh yeah, I have anxiety. This is what I can do to like fix it. But actually, that's just skimming it. It's not like deep, like digging deep of like, okay, yes, I can fix it. How can I fix it? What are my triggers? What can I do when this happens? Just like going very in depth of all of your thoughts instead of just skimming through thoughts every single day.
Exactly. And we're both guilty. Like, we need to do that a lot better.
Yeah.
We Going to adoration has been a huge first step, but we should even start to journal every single day.
Yeah.
And get in the habit of getting our thoughts out more.
Yeah.
And I think we'll make more of a cognitive effort of that. And we might even make some videos on that and maybe give some tips on what we
Yeah.
found in doing that.
Because I know, like, now not having social media, I've gotten really good with like the notes and having everything organized of Costco list, grocery list, Amazon, and my daily to-do list, things that need to be done with the house, and this organizing. Because usually I just like have that in my head and then I'd forget about it, and just like then have another thought, then forget about it. But now everything goes into the notes, so they're all labeled of, okay, this can actually get done now because I didn't forget about it, and now a month later I have to do it again. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's, yeah, being off social media is really nice. It took a couple days to like get used to it because right away I would like still scroll and hit an app that was not the Instagram app.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that was 2 days of me just scrolling and hitting the app that would go into photos instead of Instagram, and I was just like, okay, that is very scary. That like my mind and that my like intuition,
Your
or
muscle memory.
muscle memory is going click, swipe, click, swipe, click every time. Yeah,
Yeah.
took about a couple days. Now I don't even double think about it or whatever they call it.
Yeah, think twice.
Think twice about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can completely attest to that. And that was a problem through a majority of my life, and I still struggle with it. I'm working on it as far as trying to spend less time on my phone in general. It's been great to have the social media apps off my phone because it's not a habit. Because just like what you were saying, my muscle memory would constantly swipe, boom, right into it.
Yeah.
Be scrolling without me even knowing it. It was subconscious entirely.
I remember that I'd be like, what are you doing? Because like you just went on.
You'd say that all
You
the
would
time.
go like on Instagram like 3 times. Like you would scroll, click, and then you'd exit out, and then you'd scroll, click again. I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, I don't know. It's just this muscle memory or something. And I was just like, that's insane. But I mean, same thing with like you with me. With me on Instagram or TikTok, especially TikTok, like it bugged you.
It did.
It really did bug you.
Because we'd be watching a movie, we'd be watching a show, we'd be just like chilling out in bed.
It was our time together.
Yeah, our time
usually.
together. And like, especially when we'd be watching a movie, you'd be like asking me questions about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not even paying attention. So that's why you don't know what's going on.
Well, I do ask a lot of questions in movies
You do.
in general, but
You do.
yeah, I was asking double the amount of questions.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think since then I've noticed such a difference. Like
I
it's
feel happier, to be honest. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if I am happier, but you can tell
no,
me.
100%. Like just being off it, I think that our peace has been retained or has
Yeah.
been given back to us on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's been so nice. We're not stressing out about those things subconsciously, even though we don't even think about it. We
'Cause
have
I feel
more
like
time to do other things.
I think we feel like we're getting stuff done.
Yeah.
And like when I was on social media, like you're scrolling for a long time, and then you're like, I feel like I got nothing done today because
Yeah.
you're just on social media doing things. And now it's like, okay, like I have time. Like I do get things done today. I can,
And you can fully think through things and actually
Yes.
accomplish ideas and write stuff out. Before that, like your critical thinking was just zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Just absolutely nothing. And so now, like, even coming here and having like these conversations with our like this is again perfect example. Now we gave up social media. Now we're actually starting this podcast
Yeah.
and able to do
Because
do
if
fun
you would have
things.
asked us like, or what we were doing like 3, 4 months ago, probably in bed watching How I Met or not How I Met Your Mother, Modern Family, scrolling on Instagram.
Yep.
That's what we'd be doing. I mean, we probably will get social media again. I don't know how we'll go about it and keeping it very off limits, like very short and not
Yeah,
doing
so
it
that's
too
a good
much.
question. That's something that we might make more content about as well as our journey with that. Is how to be responsible with social media.
Yeah,
And then another huge thing that we're going to be having to face is what are we going to do with Layla when she grows up
yeah.
and when she gets a phone?
Because it's not a bad thing. Like social media is not a bad thing, but the way that it's like coming about nowadays and how it's
Well, it's just like with anything when something good, which it's good to be able to keep in touch with your friends and your family and
yes,
see what they're doing and people sharing
and that's what I
information and
love to do.
ideas,
Yes,
and then also like their artwork and their creativity, all great things. But now all of a sudden when it's used disorderly and you
yes.
have creepers on there that are reaching out to and being pedophiles and
That was
and
my chair. I
predators.
didn't fart. I promise.
But you have like, yeah, I mean, people being pedophiles and predators, and people are getting exposed to sexualized content and just
Yeah.
inappropriate content. And then all of a sudden you have kids that are now becoming anxious and depressed because they see what all their friends are posting.
The
They feel like
suicide rates are
suicide rates are
up. The depression and
skyrocketing.
anxiety of like meds are going up. Like it's just it was terrible. And then COVID obviously did not help that at all because
No.
nobody could do anything, So everybody was just on their phones on TikTok making these stupid trends of dun 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 dun, dun, like
What was that?
yeah, okay. We did it too. We were in
Oh,
blackface.
yeah.
But anyways, I think that was the worst year for suicides and all that kind of stuff was 2020. And I'm not saying that it was because of social media, but coincidence?
Well, it still isn't playing a good part. And it's
I mean,
like there's
it's
numerous
still pretty
studies
bad, but
done
yeah.
with like how much, and even getting not too far into it, but like the bullying and all
Yeah.
that stuff going on, and you could like, it's with great power comes great responsibility. As far as, as far as it's such a powerful tool
Yeah.
that, again, if it's abused, you can absolutely ruin somebody's reputation, ruin their entire life. And what's posted out there is posted forever. So people and kids are already posting stupid stuff that's going to haunt them for the rest of their lives.
But not even abuse though. Like if you're an influencer and especially like influencer moms or parents or anything like that, like you get reamed no matter what. Like even if you're a great person, like I love Matt and Abby. Like I watch them a lot and I think they're one of my favorite couples, same as like Devin and Hunter Cordell or whatever their name is. I love them because they're just like I feel like they're authentic people. And anyways, people get reamed about the dumbest things of your child is in the car seat and you put their car seat straps on wrong, and it's just
Yep.
like you have all these moms coming at them like claws out. It's like, okay, Karen, like they probably got out of the car, they got home, they unbuckled the car seat or the straps or whatever. That's why the straps are very, very loose. And they're taking the video right now. It's not like they're driving and taking the video. That's literally impossible. Like, what?
Yeah,
So
just
it's
so over the top, and people always try to find parenting, especially, which is where we're even watching what we post
because
because
I would never post a picture, even like not even I don't have a following, but I would never post a picture of Layla in the car seat or any of our kids in the car seat because I don't want to get reamed of saying like, oh my god, that's wrong, blah 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 blah.
it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Somebody
Yes.
always has an issue with like what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. It's parenting. I feel like especially
Yeah, 'cause
moms, especially like no offense, but
everybody has their opinion.
claws out.
But coming back to with Layla, we have had some conversations. We actually got into a couple speakers like Dr. Emmel or Nick Emmel.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great conversation with him about phones,
they
just
do,
using it,
yeah.
and what they do. And even talking with Father Waltz as well, he had some great observations being at a school that phones should do what a phone should do. It should be able to call. And so we were kind of talking like, oh, well, we don't want Layla to get made fun of because if she has a flip phone instead of a smartphone, but we're hoping that we're able to if anything, she can have a smartphone, but we'll only give it the function to call and maybe text.
Yeah, the only tough part is that the kids are smart and they can figure a way around that, I
And
feel
so
like.
hopefully there is a solution to that
Yeah.
issue when we come around to it. But
The thing is that when I had my phone, my very first phone and all the way up to even my iPhone, my mom always told me that she could check my phone at any time.
which is so smart.
Yeah, no matter what time of day it was, she was like, and she would grab it whenever, like even if I was texting someone, she would grab it and be like, I'm gonna check your phone. And at like obviously back then I was just like, my mom is so mean, like what the
Yeah.
heck. But now I'm just like, I understand why, because it's creepy out there. The people out there are just,
Well, think of
you
all the
have,
people that are reaching out to you.
she's just trying to protect me, and I appreciate that, mom. I love you. So
Yeah, I mean, at the time, same thing here.
Yeah.
And I actually wish my parents would have been a little bit stricter looking back at it. Can't believe I'm saying that. But yeah, I mean, everything was coming up so new. My parents had no idea what social media was back then. So yeah, I mean, it was just a new forefront. And who knows, as she's growing up, of what is going to be out
yeah,
there, which
that's
is nuts.
interesting.
But that's such a smart idea of like saying like, yeah, I'm going to check your phone. And in all reality, there's no reason for your kid to have their phone at night when they go to bed.
No.
There's no reason. And so in all reality, if you say that like, oh, my kid needs a phone because they need to text me to come home from school or practice or whatever, great. They should only have their phone during that time.
Yeah.
And then they should hand that phone right back into it, because what else when
Yeah.
they're at home should they be doing? Go outside and play. Go watch TV
Homework,
for gosh sakes, because we can monetize. Like we can see what's going on there. We can monitor
Yeah.
that. But for the life of me, do not go on Safari, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, because
Yeah.
that's just asking is for a disaster to happen.
No, yeah, that's something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that might be a good place to end it.
Yeah.
That's a good little rant. I mean, you have anything else to
I'm trying
touch
to
on?
think of anything else, but I think that was pretty good of everything.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated because we're on this journey. We're new to it. We're not acting like we're the experts. These are a lot of our opinions.
Definitely not.
And so, yeah, I think it'd be cool for us to do more challenges and just like see,
Yeah.
the actual statistics of things that happen with us and how, we feel on a day-to-day basis. We should almost have, recorded everything that happened during these 40 days and just seeing.
I know. I was thinking about that. Like maybe we can do it again, but I feel like we're not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go back to. Hopefully, we're not gonna go back to like where we were at with social media.
No.
Because like I said, social media is great. It's a great tool to like contact people that, obviously, your friend that graduated, nursing school or whatever school. They're not gonna text every single person that they graduated. Like they're just gonna post about that. So being able to see things like that, I like to see them and then physically text them and see how they're doing. So
Yep.
that's the only thing I really miss about social media right now. Otherwise, I could care less about what people are doing.
So I think what we'll do is we'll start to study and see what other people have done,
Yeah.
how we can have a healthy relationship with social media,
Yeah.
and then figure out how we can use it for its actual purpose, which is to catch up with people
Yeah.
and to see what they're all doing, to post and maybe update what we're doing,
Yeah.
and limit it to that and not the hours and hours of scrolling. And I think that's something that has actually come up. I think the last thing
Yeah.
that we kind of forgot about was that since going on this break,
Mm-hmm.
it finally hit us that we realized that we don't have to post about everything. And we don't
Yes.
have to show Layla all the time.
Yeah.
We don't have to be showing our vacations, and because people don't need to know.
And I think mainly for me, it was showing Layla because, I mean, I'm fine with people seeing her. I'm not like a person that needs to hide what she's doing, but I feel like it's to an extent. Like, I don't want to be posting Layla constantly and then, when she's 3, 4, of like, hey, mom, like, don't post that, and then just thinking like, oh, like, does she really feel that way of me posting about her all the time? Like, no, like, people don't need to see what she's doing all the time. My mom does because, she lives in Texas, so I send her pictures, like, daily. We have, like, this family album app that we put all of our photos in, so my mom and, like, your parents and, like, my brother and his wife can scroll through the pictures whenever they want to because they're not able to see Layla and they want to see her grow up. While, like, extended friends, I guess, because close friends we want to see, but like extended friends, they don't really need to see what she's doing. They don't need to be keeping up with our
No,
child.
and like nobody needs to really know what's happening in our lives. And
Yeah.
so even when we're talking about
We
changing
say that while we're making like podcasts. And
yeah, what this is a little
No.
bit different because this
Yeah.
is mostly like
mainly like
entertainment
Layla wise, yes.
yeah, and to constantly be posting photos for whatever. Anyways, but that's also why we in part went private, because you're even noticing when you're posting stories that
Yes.
that people that weren't even following you were keeping tabs on you and were snooping basically.
Yeah.
And so
It wasn't just like one or two people. It was about like 15, 20 people that were going onto my stories and looking at my stories, and they weren't following me, which whatever, but it's just like, why are you snooping? Why are you not following me, but you're just snooping through my stuff? And a lot of people do that. Not saying that I've never done that, because I've done that before, but it wasn't like a constant, like every story that I posted that someone was snooping on me. This was like every, so often, every week or so.
But it was nice to go private because all of a sudden our life became more private.
Yes.
And not everybody in the world needs to know what you're doing. They don't need to know that you went to Texas 2 weeks ago. They don't need to know that your baby girl just turned 8 months. They don't need to know those things. Some things are meant to be private, not to the 7 billion people that are out in the world.
For us, that's just for us. Other people, like, if other people like doing that, that's for them. I honestly do not care at all.
Oh yeah, I mean, people can do what they want to do.
That is just for us, that now and this time of age, because I feel like this just happened a couple months ago, where we kind of really wanted to like just keep everything to ourselves and just to keep everything to ourselves. But I have friends that post whatever they're doing, and I don't mind it, because I'm like, oh, that's really cool that you're doing that. Now that I don't mind it,
Yeah.
So I mean,
it kind of opened up a freedom for us.
And our sister-in-law and my brother, like, they post a lot too, and I love when they post, because I'm like, damn, they're still doing their house that they've been building, every day. I love seeing what they're doing every single day, you know. So it's a happy medium of trying to figure out what's best for you. For us at this moment in life, it's perfect for us to kind of just keep everything to ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah, I shouldn't have been like so harsh on that, but I guess I'm just it opened up a whole new freedom for us, because you feel, again, like the whole thing like with freedom is you kind of felt a slave to it in a way.
Yeah.
Because you felt like you had to post, you felt like you had to stay relevant, that you had to, which again, the future, we will probably get back to posting like more often, but not
just right now. I feel like it's
just like not right now, and just to take a break from it a little bit, and that people don't know exactly what is happening in our lives 24/7 is kind of nice. It opens up.
Yeah. But so yeah, we'll see what happens with the whole social media thing, and what happens with us getting it back.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. But yeah, I think it's time for bed.
Yeah.
Layla is still sleeping. She's been moving a little bit, but she's been a champ tonight.
Yep, face down. But she's in a Newton mattress, so it's breathable. Don't worry.
Shout out again.
Newton. Also, shout out to my Auntie Angela and Uncle Joe on Yo Ange. They are my favorite people. We were watching them on a live earlier today.
It's so funny.
And I love watching them. I feel like we always hop on there. We're just like, hi, Auntie Angela. Hi, Uncle Joe. Oh, they're the best.
It's great.
So shout out to them, Auntie Angela and Uncle Joe. I think their page is like yo_Ange. But yeah, so anyways, we'll keep you guys updated. But thank you for coming to our podcast, and we'll see you in the next one when it's finally nighttime.
Good night.
Good night.